Hello and welcome to Aspire Hired LinkedIn Live. I'm so happy to have you with me today, and it is Dreamforce season. It's hard to believe it's already here again, but it is such a short time away. And the focus today is sharing a bit of my journey of transitioning from a completely unrelated industry during Dreamforce 2019 and the strategies that I learned that worked really well. I'd love to share them with you. And we're going to focus in on leveraging LinkedIn, optimizing your profile, and really transitioning this season, whether you're planning on attending live, which I know many of you are, or if you're in a situation this year where it's going to be virtual. Both options are great. In 2019, that wasn't even an option. So it is the perfect time. I have to say that moment in time, I had left my job right before Dreamforce 2019 to become Salesforce certified. I only knew one person in the ecosystem, and the strategies that I'm going to share with you today really helped me on my way to now being engaged with thousands of you. And it's really changed my career and my life. And I'm really excited to share with you today. Why don't you go ahead and put in the comments wherever you're joining from if you are planning to be at Dreamforce live or in person or virtually, and that will help me a little bit with some of the strategies. So we're going to start out with a bit of just quick background. I know many of you know me, but those of you who don't, my name's Shellen Briand, and I recently made a job transition. So I wanted to share that with you all. I'm very excited to be back with Supermoms, focused on women in tech, really advocating for that, more diversity and equality within the tech sector. I am also the author of a book that's going to be released right before Midwest Dreaming here in a couple of weeks, ChatGPT, Salesforce Career Coach, and I host Aspire Hired. So I'm really happy to have you here with me today. And my story is relevant in this conversation because before I made the transition, I was in sales leadership at a large insurance company. That had been my career. And I was grinding. I had young twins, and my very close friend Tracy was their nanny from 7 weeks on, and I was working 60 hours a week. It was such a grind. I had always enjoyed my job, but when I became a parent, it honestly was just a terrible experience, and I didn't know what to do. I had the opportunity to be part of a team that brought Salesforce into our organization. I was there as sales leadership, so participating in that aspect. And honestly, it was not a good experience, but I was amazed by what Salesforce could do. So I was inspired to become certified and kind of took a bit of a bumpy journey to get there. But today, and this is a picture of last week, and my children who are older now, we were in Laguna Beach, able to work remotely and taking off and enjoying this beautiful sunset down at the beach. So it really has been a life-changing experience. And I honestly credit this Dreamforce strategy and then the subsequent involvement on LinkedIn to really being able to make some very important changes in my life. So there's 3 things that I'm going to share with you today. And first is the strategy around optimizing your LinkedIn profile for this season. So I'm going to give you advice that I wouldn't necessarily give you outside of the Dreamforce season or even a community event. You could do the same thing, but Dreamforce is at such a scale, there's really no time like it in terms of your ability to expand your network and really plug into the community and attract some very important opportunities post Dreamforce. The second thing that I'm going to do is share with you the specific strategy, and I learned this strategy from taking a course, and I sharing that with you, and that it involves both Twitter and LinkedIn. And I'm focusing in on LinkedIn, but Twitter is really important during this season, and I'll share with you why. And then finally, rather than getting caught up in all of the like the frantic scrolling, how much time, it could just be a little overwhelming. I'm going to share with you what I did that allowed me to be really strategic and spend, you know, during Dreamforce, I did spend a lot more than a few minutes a day. But this strategy is actually something you can use all year round, but it will really help you hone in where you spend your time, be very strategic, and make the most of this opportunity. So first, we're going to talk about your LinkedIn profile. And Andrew just recently reached out to me to connect. He's actually a connection now, even though it says second. And Andrew's profile caught my attention because it was right before I was having this session. So first of all, Andrew, thanks for reaching out. And if any of you have not had a chance to connect with Andrew, he's newer to the ecosystem and really trying to build his network and plug in and make some friends and connections. So reach out to Andrew. But this is a great example of during the season in particular. And just to be clear, I actually don't necessarily recommend this when you're actively seeking a job and interviewing. But during the season, having something that is so obviously Salesforce related is helpful. Making it friendly and warm and open and so clearly part of the Ohana makes it really easy for people to say yes and connect with you. And during this season, I have to say, I think people are incredibly active. They're really open to connecting. And in this case, being able to update your headline with things that are Salesforce related, maybe a little more personal than you might normally do, that just connects you in. If you're connected into any of the specific communities, I would also encourage you to make sure that that's showing up. And the only, I guess, feedback I might give on this in terms of, it's not a criticism at all, but there's a lot of evidence that talks about looking straight into the camera and being, for people to be able to kind of have some trust and connection with you. Andrew's photo is great because he's friendly and I wouldn't necessarily change it. But just for those of you, if you're making a shift, you want to look at being sort of your, your shoulders, your face. You want to be looking directly in the camera. You want to be able to have a slight smile and not real smile. So you get the little, squinches at your eyes, and just warm and friendly. And that eye contact helps create that sense of trust. So that would be my recommendation. And then all throughout your profile, I would take the opportunity to walk, top to bottom. And I'll be launching a challenge on Monday that will actually walk through all of this. If you want to take it, it's free. It's 5 days, and it's really going head to toe and doing this whole strategy. So at the end, I'll share with you how you can do that. But go ahead and just make sure that everything's updated, that it's really clear. Any of your Salesforce certifications or courses, your skills, all of those things, just go ahead and polish it up to the best of your ability. So the second area is actually the Dreamforce session catalog. It's fantastic. So you are able to look up all of the sessions. So they're live. They're still adding them every day. There's still a number of ones that they're refining. But right now, you can see there's over 1,000 sessions. You can actually sort them by your experience level, the categories. So there's lots of ways to go ahead and tackle this. But what it allows you to do is hone in on specific speakers. So if there are specific topics, you can click into, for instance, Rachel Walker in this one, 10 tips to prepare for mission critical events. You can click into Rachel and get her information. and then look her up on Twitter and LinkedIn and go ahead and follow as many speakers as you can. And while you're doing that, I really recommend, and we'll dive into this a little bit deeper in a moment, but creating a spreadsheet and putting the person's name and the link directly to their profile. And I'll explain why. But while you're doing this, so in this case, I would go to Rachel's, I'd click into Rachel's, I'd get her information, I would try my best to find her on Twitter. Sometimes that's a little harder, but you'll definitely be able to find the majority of people on LinkedIn. And I would follow them rather than connecting with them at this point. And I would add their name and the link directly to their profile. And I'll explain a refinement in a moment on a spreadsheet. And I'll explain why later. But this is the perfect way to actually see what's going on and who you might want to connect with. You can see companies that they're involved with. So there may be some great opportunities to see potential employers. You can sort by the areas that you're most interested in. So you're really focusing your attention on those speakers and thought leaders and people that are going to be the most advantageous for you in the future. The catalog will also identify the sessions that are on Salesforce Plus. So for those of you who are attending virtually, you can plan in advance and find out exactly what's playing on Salesforce Plus and plan your schedule accordingly. And you'll be able to focus in on a lot of those speakers because they are going to be on Salesforce Plus, and that's a great way for you to connect and make connections when we talk about that strategy next. So again, if you're just joining, let us know if you'll be attending Dreamforce in person or you'll be attending virtually. And if you are open to connecting with each other, feel free to go ahead and drop your LinkedIn profile link in the comments, and you can just start connecting right now. So I am a huge fan of LinkedIn. For me, the pace of LinkedIn works really well. I've had a Twitter account for such a long time, and it wasn't until Dreamforce, frankly, that I spent any time on there. And someone had advised me that it was critical to be on Twitter during Dreamforce because the community was so active, and they were absolutely right. So LinkedIn is where I will tell you how to strategically, further your career. But in terms of the action, you're going to find it on, I guess it's X now, and I know there's a bit of controversy around Twitter these days, but I would say plug in right now. You can go to the Dreamforce X account. I'm just going to call it Twitter. I'm just not ready to make that adjustment yet, but you're going to go ahead and follow Dreamforce, and then you'll see the hashtag there. So that hashtag will be used everywhere. So it's DF23. It's going to be perfect for you to be able to search on LinkedIn as well. So a lot of people will be using that hashtag, and it will make it really easy for you to get where you need to go and engage with the people you need to engage with. But you'll notice underneath the followers and all of that, you'll see tweets, replies, media, and likes. If you hone in on the replies section, that's where you will start to see all kinds of, and you can go right now, and there's lots of people announcing their sessions. There's tons of engagement. The reason I wanted to host this today and then do the challenge that's going to be coming up is you want to take these weeks leading into Dreamforce. There's so much excitement. People are on, they're promoting that they're speaking, companies are involved. During Dreamforce, it's like a bit frenetic. It's an incredible experience, but right now is where you can really take advantage of a lot of the enthusiasm and the preparing, and people are really wanting to be connecting with you. So definitely take advantage of that. but focus in on the replies. On Twitter, go ahead and search the hashtag, and that will bring up, and there's hundreds of them now, and there will literally be thousands. But please don't get overwhelmed, because we're going to talk about a way to keep this really under control and organized in a way that works great for you. And for my fellow introverts, this is a great strategy because you can really contain the amount of this that's happening in your life and have a lot of value without being in the middle of the chaos of Dreamforce. But I did attend last year and was a speaker. It was an incredible experience. But I have to say, during Dreamforce 2019, when I was engaging, it was really just on Twitter and LinkedIn because they didn't have the virtual option at that point, and there was no Salesforce Plus. I made way more connections in terms of like the personal networking side. So you want to right now just go in and start following everyone who's using that hashtag. And the reason you want to do that, you want to curate both your Twitter feed, your X feed, and your LinkedIn feed running up until Dreamforce. So everything will be in your feed. Will just kind of transition into Dreamforce and make it very easy for you to be efficient and engage and have a nice time with connecting with folks. And from there, you will find people that are using, this is actually about Tahoe dreaming, but I wanted to use this as an example of Janet. So she's really active. You'll find her right now. This is also, they'll tag each other. So one way that I started to find out who to even follow, because I didn't know anyone, was I found a few leaders that were in the community and I noticed who they were tagging. And then I would click over to them and I'd follow them. And just, it didn't take very long, honestly, a couple hours, and you will have a really rich community. But again, as you click through, let's say with Janet in this situation, if I saw a tweet that was from Janet that was interesting and I clicked in and realized, wow, Janet's a leader in the community, really active, you want to go ahead and copy the link to Janet's profile and put it in a spreadsheet, so that when it comes time to get into the engagement, you're not necessarily, you might want to just for the fun of it to see what's going on. But if you're wanting to make sure that you're connecting in with people, you want to just click right into those links directly to their profile and engage. And that way you can just work through your list, add people as you go, and the return on that time is amazing. You want to be engaging. So, like any of the engagement choices, and sometimes it may be like you might have a different opinion, but you want to go ahead and use that connection. You want to but commenting is so important, because that comment is going to bring you to their attention. So your photo, your name. If you're somebody that doesn't have an active Twitter account, you might want to set one up that's kind of Dreamforce, Ohana, Salesforce oriented for this purpose, even if you kind of abandon it after, because it'll allow you to become familiar to people as you approach them on LinkedIn. And sharing. And the one thing about Twitter that's great is you can easily share and just kind of take advantage of that, all the activity. And again, these leaders, thought leaders, speakers will get familiar with your face and your name and your support. So as you reach out to them on LinkedIn, you are not a stranger. It will be clear to them that you are an active part of the community. So this is where taking off of Twitter onto LinkedIn, and you can do the same activities that we discussed with Twitter on LinkedIn, and I would really encourage you to do that. But I do have to say that as much as I love LinkedIn, again, Twitter is going to be the most active community during Dreamforce, but the majority of people, a few less in the developer architect world, but the vast majority of people will be on LinkedIn. So with LinkedIn, I would encourage you to follow individuals initially rather than use your connection requests. You get 100 a week, and I would really encourage you. That's the other reason I wanted to do this earlier is, you've got this week and you'll have a number of weeks running into Dreamforce and Dreamforce week. So you could easily directly send connection requests, to 400 or 500 people. And I would really encourage you to do that. They don't roll over. So I have an alarm set and I make sure that I'm doing that. You will also receive a bunch of connection requests during the season if you're active the way that we're discussing. So if your profile's welcoming and warm and Salesforce Ohana vibe, you will automatically start getting connection requests if you are engaging on LinkedIn the way that we're talking about. So again, you have 100 weekly, follow first, and then transition to sending in connection requests after you've had a time to engage. Create a spreadsheet. And again, it's just, I have one that I'll share. It has a top 100 Salesforce influencers that'll be part of the challenge. And I'll just give you that one. Most of those people will be active during Dreamforce. But I encourage you to find the people that are most interesting to you or aligned with whatever niche that you may be interested in. If you are really into marketing cloud and into the marketing space, you want to lean into that direction. If you're in the developer world, you want to lean into those leaders and companies and people that will be most valuable to you. If you are part of a community or you just want to quickly get some more community around you, I really encourage you to search in the top bar like you would for somebody's name, some of the communities. So Supermoms is a great community, Talent Stacker, the Salesforce Talent Alliance, the Clicked community. If you just search by that, you can actually quickly just send invitations. And I have found, and I'm sure you will as well, that community or those communities are really also in that career development phase and really open and interested in connecting. So take advantage of that. But that spreadsheet, so what I had talked about earlier about, copying that direct link to the person's profile, once you get into this process, I actually really encourage you for LinkedIn to copy the link directly to their activity page. So if you go to somebody's LinkedIn profile and you scroll down in their profile, you'll get to their all activity page, and that link will be in your top search bar. That way, you're not having to go through people's profiles. So you're just going to be able to quickly go through, let's say you're the 20 people you want to target to connect with and be part of their community. You can just click right into their activity. So for instance, when I did this, I had I had kids sleeping. So I set an alarm and I'd grab my coffee and I'd spend, about 20 minutes sitting in my cozy chair, drinking my coffee, and I would just click the links directly to activity and I could see exactly what they had posted, either that, in between when I did this, and I did it every day for that season, and I just could go directly to their posts. And you want to react and comment and share. The commenting part is really what's most valuable because again, your profile photo, that's why you also want to have it with your face directly linking. Your headline will show, and if you have Salesforce something in there, then you will be part of that, and other people who are commenting are automatically going to click in and send you connection requests. So you may have that 400 or 500 connection requests to send between now and the end of Dreamforce, but you could easily double that and end up with 1,000 new Salesforce rich, wonderful connections during the season. And then on Monday, I'm going to release a free 5-day Dreamforce LinkedIn challenge. And the reason for that is I know so many people get a little overwhelmed by how do I do all of this? And I regularly meet with people and do one-on-ones, but there's just not enough time to be able to do that. And I wanted to create an experience where as many of you as possible or who are interested, we could walk through this together, just take one step at a time and really go through this. I'll share the resources and checklists and things. So on Monday, I will release that information. If you're interested in joining, just go ahead and put in the comments challenge, or feel free to just send me a DM and I'll send you the link to sign up for that. The actual challenge itself will start on August 21st and run through that week. That'll be 3 weeks before Dreamforce. So we'll have a chance to get the profile optimized, get all of that spreadsheet created, and do those initial reach outs. So you'll be able to take full advantage of that window of time. So I would love to have you join me. It was a blast. It made a huge difference in my life. And I'm very confident that it will do the same for you if that is what you are looking to do at this point in time. And then please, if anyone has any questions at all, I am happy to stay and answer questions and tell you things that I've done. But again, during the live challenge, we will be able to be on Zoom. You can ask questions. I'll show you, we'll just demonstrate it. I'll give you tours and make it really easy to do that. But in the meantime, if any of you have any questions, feel free to either, add them later, DM me. But I really encourage you to embrace the Dreamforce season. It's really a blast. There's so many new things. I know none of us can get through the day without hearing AI. There'll be some very interesting information shared. And I would definitely say that embracing that learning journey right now is exceptional. This is a time to both virtually and in person to get exposed to the AI experiences. How people are using it will be beneficial, whether or not that's really your jam. It will be good from a career perspective if you can be perceived as somebody who's going to be open to learning and embracing it. And certainly for those of you who have an interest, to take advantage of some of these certifications and learning journeys and add that to your LinkedIn profile and your resume to help you stand out, because every company is going to be facing that. So I thank you all for being here with me today, and I look forward to seeing you all during the season. Please feel free to reach out if you want to drop me the link to any posts that you make. We didn't talk about that today, but we will dive into it in the challenge of what you can do during Dreamforce. But honestly, my belief is the most powerful thing you can do during this window of time is really embrace the community, connect with a lot of people while they're really open and available to doing that, because that's their focus right now too, where later they're going to be back really busy with their job, and commenting so that your face and name is seen by lots of people. Versus if you're posting, that's a great thing over time. But honestly, unless you have a really vibrant community right now, and if you do, then posting is fantastic, and leaning into Dreamforce, posting is perfect. But for most people, I think they might misunderstand the impact that posting yourself will have, because not very many people will see it at the beginning. They will over time. And if you build your network now, as you do more of that in the future, you'll have a much richer, more vibrant community. So again, thank you so much. And I will be back here next Thursday at 12:30 Pacific. And again, I'll be releasing the information about the free 5-day challenge on Monday. Take care.